Real old school laughs, you're in for a treat because we've got them right here. Flip City Magazine. Remember Mad Magazine? Then it went woke? Well, don't worry. Flip City has no chance of going woke. That's right. 4 times a year, you'll get an actual printed magazine full of jokes, stories, comics, and more, all about today's pop culture, entertainment, and woke politics. Flip City takes terrible entertainment trends we love to hate with hilarious parodies of Lord of the Rings, Stranger Things, The Walking Dead, Star Trek, Hunters, and more. Trust me when I say there is nothing else like Flip City on the market. So subscribe today. It will be delivered in print, or you can even get it digitally if you're one of those wacky Zoomers. Either way, follow our link and sign up today, and if you put in midnight, you get an extra 10% off. Check out Flip City Magazine today. Time for some Midnight's Edge After Dark. I am Tom Connors. We have an awesome panel with us already. Maybe some more people joining. We have all 32 flavors of Nick Weiser, not a single one missing. Even the new flavor, New Coke.
New Coke and coming on time. The best of both worlds.
I didn't know that actually tasted different depending on the time.
that was well timed. How you doing, Tom? Good to hang out with you, CC Clubby, and hello to our ever so excellent chat. Good to see you guys, and to our wrenchers. I saw D-Bud, and if I missed any other wrenchers, thank you for swinging your wrenches around. Appreciate you guys. We got some interesting topics on IPs tonight, which is pretty much business as usual, but I think we're gonna have some more interesting takes on these than we normally do, considering some of these are of you and I, Tom, some of our expertise. So we're gonna have a good conversation.
I like turtles.
We also have with us the one, the only Clobbering Times.
Clobbering Times, what's up, buddies? Friends on panel, friends in chat. Let us get on with it, my friends. Let us geek away.
Let's geek away, as you say. Also with us, fresh off of the WDW Pro stream, Mr. CC Karaoke. That's a lot of what letters? Yeah.
It's 2 letters, I think.
CC Karaoke on the WDW Pro stream. That's like 5.
A lot of letters.
Right, well,
a lot of letters.
Glad to be here as always. I mean, I could spend the next couple hours actually just listening to your country songs.
Oh Lord, we'll get into that.
But perhaps if you can get him past the copyright, then I look forward.
We'll give it a shot
to see it.
I don't think there's any copyright to be had, but yeah. Oh, and at the last minute with perfect timing, you have the Price of Reason. Look at that.
Yeah, Price.
Yeah, I did it.
You did it.
You do it. You can.
But yeah, so what Pro was talking about is I found a toy and I've been working on a few things. So maybe we'll share some of that tonight. But how you doing, Price?
I'm good. I just came back from that Civil War movie.
Oh,
how was it?
Your thoughts on that?
It was. I thought it would be annoying, and it was just as annoying as I thought it would be.
Well, I heard it already leaked online, so yeah.
Did it? I don't know. I have one of those things where I can just see that. I don't pay for it. You know those things where you got like a monthly
movie pass or whatever. Yeah.
So I just figured I just look at it. I didn't know it leaked online, but I feel like I feel like this movie tries to kind of tiptoe around certain things, but at the end it just comes off as annoying, and I feel like I don't know if it's going to find an audience.
Well, we'll have to see how that goes this weekend. Yeah. So what we have though is some news to talk about out of Cinemacon. Got a couple things. Let's start off.
New con now where announcements like this happen, because usually these things are usually more reserved for the SDCCs, sometimes the New York Comic Cons of the world.
They do it a couple times a year. Cinemacon is actually something. I'm kind of glad you asked. For those who don't even really know what it is, it's actually for the theater owners.
I did not know that.
Yeah, so it used to be called Show West back in the day, I believe. And it's usually where the studios come in. They have a nice little showcase for the theaters. Sometimes they even show an entire movie. I think this time they might have showed Fall Guy, if I heard right. A couple years back, they showed, I think, Ghostbusters Afterlife. If not, that was at Comic-Con, one of the two real close to it. But yeah, you're right, because like they'll have Cinemacon, which is kind of the first big thing of the year where we drop a lot of information, stuff that we're going to see throughout this year. Not so much like in the future though. Like a lot of people are saying, like, don't expect to see anything about Superman yet, right? I don't even think James Gunn will have any kind of presentation or anything for Superman, but they'll probably definitely have some stuff for Beetlejuice, some of the other big movies that are coming out this year. Then they'll announce some other projects that they'll be working on, stuff like that. The funny thing is, though, usually it has to do more with stuff that is already in the pipeline and about to come out because it's to sell it to the theater folks, kind of like thing. It's like a trade show. But this year we got a couple of announcements for things that aren't even done yet, which is kind of a rarity. We're going to talk about those right now, actually. The first of the ones I'm going to bring up is the Transformers G.I. Joe crossover movie is happening, evidently. Officially. So you guys shared this story with me. I'm assuming this came out of Cinemacon.
Yeah, a lot of stuff came out of Cinemacon today, and I feel like just a quick sentence. I want to say that I feel like they've beaten those two franchises to death, and now they just said, well, there's only one thing we can do. What if we put them together in one movie? And that's really all they can do, because really, if you do that, I'll probably go watch it, but that doesn't mean it's going to be any good.
Right. I'm trying to find the story here, and I'm so unprepared today. You guys have no idea.
Okay. These guys came armed and loaded with the topics.
But like, for instance, they showed like the Gladiator 2 trailer at Cinemacon today. I don't know if that made its way online yet. I doubt it.
I'm sure it will any minute now, though. You know how that stuff is. I remember when they tried to preserve at STCC the BVS trailer, the one that would never be at cinemas, and of course a few bootlegs still got.
Well, this is where the Joker trailer dropped too, for instance. It's funny here. They say that Brian Robbins joked about starting a Kickstarter. Oh wow, to buy Paramount. That was a bad joke. Oh Lord. Yes,
they're getting there.
Could it be that some of these things they're announcing is just to prop up their stock and make it seem like there's something good happening at this company? Because really, we all know that behind the scenes it's not going so well, and there could be a David Zaslav type of situation with Ellison. So I feel like they're just trying to make it seem like something good is going on, and who knows if any of these movies are going to get made, but what do I know?
Well, then again, like I've been saying, like if it looks most likely that Skydance is going to get their hands on Paramount now. And if they do, it's going to just pretty much be like business as usual. I think
that's possible.
How many
because
times
a lot of the movies that got them here were Skydance pictures.
That's true.
How many times can companies just keep being bought out and bought out till it's just like, okay, these companies keep getting bought and they keep failing and they keep being bought again? At what point do they just say,
kind
okay,
of depreciate
not profitable anymore? Time to let it go.
I would say like it takes a good 40, 50 years. Because here's the thing. MGM, they had the similar thing happen multiple times throughout the last few decades. Going all the way back to the 60s. MGM has been bought out numerous times. In fact, I think it changed hands no less than 3 times just in the 1960s. And then up through the 70s into the 80s, I don't even know how many times it changed hands from people. It was up until Ted Turner bought them, sold off the MGM part, kept all the MGM UA titles. Or no, he didn't keep the UA titles. Those went with him, but he kept all the MGM titles pre-1986. So the only big titles that he didn't keep were stuff like the Rocky films and the RoboCop films and some of the other more modern stuff. Otherwise, he has all the other old stuff. Did. And then when he bought into New Line Cinema, that merged those two together, and then those two got bought up and merged into Warner Brothers. And so that's where, like, yeah, these things happen all the time throughout the years. But MGM just got bought again by Amazon. So, I mean, they're still around. So when people are like, oh, Disney's going to die, this is going to die, Paramount's going to die, it's like, no, these companies just keep getting bought out and bought out. Now, what's happened over the years is MGM ain't worth shit, right? They have hardly got a catalog left. It's been sold off, pieced out, stolen, however you want to look at it, throughout the years. So they have very little to actually work with anymore. But they are still technically a studio under Amazon. So even after all these years and all the shit they've went through and all the bankruptcy crap, and because they even ended up getting involved with Orion and stuff there when they got paid. Like, yeah, so like this can happen, and Disney can last for another 50 years just limping along on bullshit. So don't think that this is like a game over situation for Hollywood right now. At least I wouldn't.
Also, some of them, they had all those streaming things and they tried out different things, and sometimes it's like the Big Bang. They all go in different directions, and then at the end they kind of, I don't know what, they'll a few big ones will stay.
Yeah.
Just a lot of smaller ones will continue to.
Well, let's say for sake of argument, Disney wanted to resell Fox. They would be lucky to get half of what it was worth then now, because they haven't done anything with it. That's kind of the big thing. They haven't done jack shit with it. New Line Cinema is almost non-existent anymore because of Warner Brothers soaking them up, but they used to be a mini major. So like it happens. They get kind of just sucked up into the fold. But anyway, speaking of getting sucked up into the fold, the Transformer G.I. Joe crossover movie made official by Paramount at Cinemacon. We have the story here from Deadline. So just what you were looking forward to. Yeah. So who's been looking forward to this? Anybody?
In a perfect world, I would be, but with what we got in the current year Hollywood, and also the fact that this is basically the DCEU version of this, and by DCEU version of this, I mean that we're rushing to this idea because it's not made clear that is off the G.I. Joe movies that came out that didn't do well, and the Transformers movies that have pretty much done well overseas, but not so well domestically. Like, it's not specific. So you're rushing into a crossover that really doesn't have a big investment as far as moviegoers go. Now, for the people who know these franchises, yeah, they can get excited, but that's a very minor number of people. But even if you had a bigger number of people who were aware of this, it's current year Hollywood, and I don't see this being something that they are capable of making properly, which is really sad because I read the current comics from Transformers and G.I. Joe, and they're easily the best, I guess we'll say, mainstream comics on the market outside of like Conan per se. Like, seriously, Transformers is killing it, and the G.I. Joe books have all been good. Duke, Cobra Commander, a lot of buddies are liking Larry Hama's G.I. Joe, Real American Hero as well. So this is unfortunate.
I mean, I think the other thing that's going on is there's just so much now, right? Like growing up in the 90s, I bought a Sega Genesis and I rented every single game on the shelf at the video store. And then I traded my Genesis in for an SNES and I rented every single game on the shelf. And I rented every single movie that I could possibly find. And I watched everything, and it got to a point where I was like, okay, what is left for me to play and watch? Because I've seen everything. I've played everything. And that's just not possible. I mean, that was a stretch then, but it's not possible today with YouTube and with all the independent media. I mean, I think about like, and there's a little bit of music, but in like music terms, like you don't have like that big stadium band anymore, but you don't really have that in Hollywood either because there's just so many smaller productions, right? That are just dispersing the crowd. So you get something like this, which I mean, I guess I wouldn't call it a small brand, but you're not going to turn it into a $1 billion thing when you got some people here going over to watch that small indie film, some people going over there to watch that small indie game or to listen to that small indie band that has 20 or 30 people in the audience. But when you have a 10,000 of those taking a few people here and a few people there, you're not going to be able to, you're not going to be able to sustain that kind of size that you might have when there was just a few 3-letter networks that could dominate everything and everybody's attention.
Yeah, no, it's true. Well, and that's the thing. What the G.I. Joe franchise alone has a big cast. I mean, Transformers alone has a big cast. They haven't even gotten a G.I. Joe movie right. What makes them think that they're going to pull off these two put together straight up?
They
Can't even
haven't
juggle
earned
one
it.
franchise together. How are they going to do two of them? Because the thing is, once again, in a perfect world, this is one of those shared universe ideas that does make sense, and this has been done in comics a few times now, and they do obviously have a major crossover of fans. They also are made by the same toy company, Hasbro. So yeah, and I was just about to say, Forgotten Prime beat me to it in the comments. Leave it animated. That would be the ideal way if you're really gonna really make this the best it could be. Animation would be the best. Sure, you wouldn't have the big box office return of live action, but you have a better chance of being accurate to the source material. And also not having as big of a giant live action budget of billions of dollars and then having it fail. At least with the animation budget, they can find a way to dial that down a little.
They haven't earned this. Basically, that's what you're saying, Nick, and I agree with you.
Yeah, and there was that little tease at the end of the last movie, but I don't know the answer of whether or not it is a spinoff of the original G.I. Joe, the Snake Eyes, which I think was already a quasi prequel or whatever to the other one.
No,
I don't know if they're leaving that in the past or what.
Which is the last movie? Are you talking Transformers or G.I. Joe?
G.I. Joe, like they had the two G.I. Joe movies, and they had the Snake Eyes movie, which I never watched the Snake Eyes movie, so I have no idea what it's attached to as far as if it's a prequel to the other two G.I. Joe movies or if it's its own thing starting over again. I don't remember it, and I don't give a fuck. Now, the last Transformer movie I watched because they duped me because the one before that, Bumblebee, was actually pretty good.
I've heard from a lot.
This one was fucking
Transformers
trash.
fans who like Bumblebee.
It was fucking unwatchable. And then you get that tease at the end that I don't even fucking remember I don't even remember how it went down. So I don't even remember if it's meant to be the same world as the other G.I. Joe movies or not.
I can barely remember what it was. I remember there's a tease at the end, but by the time you reach that point in the movie, you're so annoyed with the movie that the tease does nothing.
Yeah, because what they did was, from my memory, was they basically took what was a good idea with Bumblebee and kind of resetting the franchise. I mean, this movie does take place in the 90s or whatever, but it's still taking it back into the fucking Michael Bay shit. So it went back to more of that kind of crap, and it was just, I don't know. The movie was so bad that I barely remember it. Like, I know I was pissed that I think I bought it because I think I bought it on digital. So I was like, oh, I'll give it a shot. So I'm like, oh, I'll give it a shot.
$30 and whoo.
Yeah, I thought because the last one was good, and I waited so long to check it out. I'm like, and this is from some of the same people and all that kind of stuff behind it. So I'm like, all right, let's see. And no, it was fucking garbage. And I don't know who else here watched it. It was the Rise of the Beast ones.
I did.
I know the concept from the toys in the 90s. And I think some of the cartoons touched up on it at that time. And now I wasn't personally familiar with it, but I did have a lot of buddies when I was a much younger lad. And I remember a lot of them were really into the Beast Wars thing. I remember there was a whole line on it too.
Oh, Beast Wars, yeah, that was the best.
Line. That's how big that whole story was of the Beast Wars. It had a whole toy line.
That was one of my favorite shows.
And once again, another idea that in theory should have worked, but we're in current year, and because current year is a thing, these ideas sadly don't stick the landing. None of it is earned. None of it has built up properly. There's no investment. Even not only are obviously hardcore fans not really about this, but even normies don't care. Even normies don't care. And even the last Beast Wars movie that came out, usually the Transformers kind of got off easy as far as the movies go, with the overseas market doing very well for them, but not the last one. This time they didn't get off as easy. This time they weren't saved from the overseas market. So it seems like even on the other side of the pond, they're starting to run out of steam with this.
Yeah, and they're saying in the chat, I think that the suit that they were wearing at the end is reminiscent of the other one, but I don't know. I don't care. I hated those fucking G.I. Joe movies. They were so horrible.
A lot of people did, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, and dude, asking. Once again, I knew many G.I. Joe guys. and not a single one. I was like, you have to see this. Not a single one.
Rather than making the Avengers, I mean the first Avengers movie here, this is more like Freddy versus Jason or Alien
Yes.
versus Predator. It's just like things that haven't been making as much money as they wanted, and they think that together they'll at least make one movie that'll make as much as they wanted, because some people that like this and some people like that, maybe they'll be curious enough to see what this is, and they can build it up as sort of an event movie. But
I don't even think that's going to translate. But yeah, once again, I feel like in a perfect world, that should be the thing. Like, but because none of it is earned, a lot of these movies haven't been doing well. The idea that they're even thinking that this is going to automatically translate, it shows you how outdated, and not outdated, but how uninformed they are on these movies and their performance. Just because you combine them doesn't mean it's going to draw people back immediately. You might have at best a decent first weekend, but it's not going to be some big $100 million weekend. You know it's not going to come close.
I at least am curious. I know better. I know that it's going to be bad, but when you say it, there's kind of, it's like an itch that I have to scratch. If you say that it's Transformers and G.I. Joe crossover, I'm at least curious to see what it is, even though I'm ashamed of myself at the same time. And that's what they're counting on.
See, at least you have self-awareness, Bryce. At least you're like, you know what? I know, but you're it sounds like that's right. I know, but
I knew that Aliens and versus Predators or whatever that thing would be crap also, but I still watched it. What can I do?
It's like, you know, it's gonna. It's like you go to Pizza Hut anyway, even though you know you're gonna regret it, right? Like, yeah.
That's true.
Exactly.
With the
it's the Pizza Hut of movies.
Yeah. It's like, you know it's gonna be bad. You know it. You still do it anyway because you just that stupidity, and then you're looking at yourself after you just bought a $20 pizza and you've only managed to eat 2 pieces and you feel like shit. So you're like,
it's the special when it was not $20 that day, it's $12.
Whatever it was. But, well, what delivery? It was $20.
Yeah, true. Yeah, that delivery fee that makes all the difference. See, back in the day though, Pizza Hut had at least had cool promos to back up, like when they were promoting the Phantom Menace. Obviously, like how writer and artist driven they were with their 90s X-Men promo as well. Like the Casper movie, a great promo. I remember those giant hand puppets they had for the Casper movie. So at least Pizza back then had great promo. So they at least made up for it like that. And
they don't have that kind of shit. The closest thing we get nowadays to the shit like when we had as a kid is this.
The Casper ones are way cooler than that. The Casper things
I'm saying,
from the
like,
90s are way
the
cooler.
Ghostbusters one you got, Nick, that you're supposed to be sending me is pretty cool too. But like once in a while we get cool things like that. But like, yeah, no, but like fucking the promos they come up like, when was the last time you remember them having a Happy Meal that was worth a shit? I remember still being an adult and coming through the drive-through at McDonald's going, well, yeah, what's your Happy Meal toy this week? Because of whatever movie they were promoting, whether it was, you know, Star Wars was Burger King, but you know what I mean? Like,
I know. I was a collector as a kid. I remember a little.
They have adult Happy Meals now, Price, believe it or not, and they always come up with stupid as shit. They actually are trying to cater to our, you know, to us as a generation, but they're fucking it up because they came up with, like, they've done it twice now, and I don't know how stupid people were sucked into this shit, but they went and bought these $10 fucking Happy Meals, and they were like uglified fucking versions of the McDonald's characters from when we were kids.
And I'm like, probably because they all are. Like, I looked at photos recently.
They think they're like the Funko Pop shit, and I'm like, nobody wants that.
No real fan wants that stuff. That's for the tourists and the posers.
And don't they try to put slices of apple in it now or something like that?
Well, you get choices, but yeah, they made them all healthier and shit.
Well,
the adult Happy Meals actually come with an actual full meal, right? Like that you could get like the Big Mac meal or the quarter pounder meal or the chicken sandwich meal or whatever it was. Yeah.
These foods aren't not meant to be healthyized. It's called learn how to have self-discipline and work in moderation of the foods. But of course they don't.
And just so you guys don't think I'm full of shit. Not that you guys are claiming I am, but I mean,
Big Mac with a side of apples.
Yeah, see, they actually had them here. And one of them they had the McNuggets, but they were like looking weird and shit. Like, here, see?
Oh my god.
Like, what the fuck?
What is that?
What is that?
Yeah, they were like
Adult?
trying to cater to adult Happy Meal toys. So they had the Chicken McNugget ones that weren't so bad, but they were just kind of fucking weird. And then they had these ones. Let me see if I can find the pictures of them. But they were like the old characters from McDonald's, like the Grimace and all that kind of shit. Here they are.
Hamburglar?
Yeah, but they have like double eyes and shit. They're really fucking weird. They look like oh, I see what they might be trying to do here. This
J.J. Abrams is the Hamburglar of Hollywood. I just wanted to let people know that.
here, this is what I'm talking about. They had like double eyes and shit. See, now like those, if those were like regular, like whatever that video game is with this, that's what I think they're trying to do. It's like, you guys know what I'm talking about? With the little puppet people on PS3. My kid used to play it.
Why
all
do they
the
have four
fucking
eyes?
time.
I don't understand.
I don't understand either. I don't get it. Because to me, it's like if you wanted to do this, if you wanted to do actual versions of the original characters, I think people would actually eat them up.
Was it
Not
a
literally,
copyright
but-
issue? Was that they have to do it 25%?
They're doing it all stylized for some reason. That was the whole thing. Yeah. No, they don't have to. They didn't have to do any of that shit. But this is like they've done it twice now, where they've had these adult Happy Meals.
Jeez.
They haven't had a
Dude,
kids meal worth of shit in forever.
they haven't. I remember, dude. I used to be a collector of those things. So, like for cultural historical reference, in the movie Wayne's World, when they're rocking out to Queen and they pass by that
Mhm.
Tower of Cars, that's
Yeah.
in Berwyn, Illinois. I used to live 5-minute walk from that Tower of Cars, so I would go to the McDonald's right next to that Tower of Cars to get my toys every freaking day. I swear, I was like, "Do you have that toy yet? Do you have that toy yet? Is it in yet?" That's what she said. I want that toy. And I remember Spider-Man the animated series, Batman the animated series. Oh man, obviously there are so many cool movies that they had toys at the time. The Lion King, even the Lion King toys are cool at the time. I had
These
I
were
literally
good,
had the
right? Like,
glass
these were
on the
so
far right.
well
I
made.
had that. I had
Well,
that on
$5,
the far right.
like
Batman
where I lived,
Forever
and I collected them
glasses?
all.
Dude,
They held
Batman
up.
Forever glasses.
Like
And yes,
thick
I understand
glass.
it's Spenguli reference. Berwyn.
But
this-
they did find out that some of them had lead in the paint years
Oh
later.
well, I'm still drinking out of it. I'll drink out of it
Like
now.
the Garfield
just
and the
to prove a
Shrek
point.
ones, and
I
a
still
couple
have
of
the
other ones.
Garfield one, and I drink from it all the time. And they're always saying it has lead in it, but
Yeah.
I don't notice
Eh.
the lead when I drink it.
Of
so-
course, you're not going to notice it.
If it's on the paint, then the paint's on the outside of the glass,
Oh, well.
anyways. So
Man, give me some of that lead.
Yeah, I think it's more so if you lick the outside, but like, yeah.
I don't though. I don't lick the outside. I just
Oh,
I drink it.
anymore.
Not anymore. Yeah.
there was nothing
Yeah.
cheap about this
I
product.
think
to put it
everybody
that
had
way.
these. Well,
Oh yeah,
I still do. I have
I
two
think
of them.
everybody had these.
dude. I'm
I
on
have
a
the two top ones.
recollecting spree of getting those. So for my
had all of them, yeah.
recent let's see, for Christmas and I think my girlfriend and I's anniversary, she helped me get some of the Batman Forever glasses that I once lost.
Yeah.
So now
I
I
got a couple
have
of 'em.
3 out of the 4 back. She got me a Two-Face one recently for
Oh, nice.
God, was it
I
Valentine's
think I still
Day?
have.
Dude,
I think I
the
have-
Two-Face one looks like it was never even used. Usually, like when you have
Right.
old glasses from 30 years ago, there's a little bit of some looks like there's some scratches on it. This Two-Face glass looks like it was made yesterday. I almost think I need to go get it just to prove it. But the other glasses, like I said, my Batman and Riddler ones, you could tell there's some age on it. But that Two-Face one, I don't know how she scored that one because it straight up looks brand new. And you can see the difference when you put them next to each other, too.
I still have, I think, Batman and Riddler, but I think that's it. Might have Robin still. I don't know. But I think you're right. Like, how do I have to look? Vengeful Dragon, the garlic bread expert, sends in 14 South African Rand, says, how many of Paramount's films happen? JJ Trek 4, anybody? Yeah, I know. I think it was you, Nick, that said it. That I think a lot of these announcements here just to kind of help bolster their.
I said it.
It was Steve
Or was
Price.
it you, Price?
It's okay.
Yeah.
I'll
Yeah,
give
all
it to
right.
Nick
I'm
though.
not
Nick's a good
No,
guy.
I want to make sure whoever said it got credit. But
Nick would have said it if I didn't say it. So
Oh, no, I wouldn't. I'm a moron. I just know about toys and cereal and cool comics. That's all I know. Other than I know nothing else.
you live in the American dream. Kenneth Dowling sends it $10. Well, thank you, Kenneth. I think it's been a while since we've seen you around. If not, I just haven't noticed you, and I apologize. Says, hi, guys. Hey, Tom, buddy. Hope all is well. I'm doing the best I can. Thank you for asking, and hope you're well, too. I saw there's a Last Ronin movie being developed. I didn't believe it at first. If there are good people behind it, I'm looking forward to see it. Well, I'm glad you asked, because that is our big topic of today. Because, yeah, well, especially like people like Nick and I have been saying for a while that why don't they just do an R-rated Last Ronin movie?
I feel like they've been listening to your streams. You say it during the time of Mutant Mayhem. You said this like 50 times, and they finally did it. And I think they were actually listening. I feel like you influenced this.
They must not have listened too hard though, because they went and got Walter fucking Hamada of all goddamn people.
Why?
I thought he was unemployable.
Oh,
Evidently
God,
not.
No. We fail upwards in today's current year. Are you kidding me? When you fuck something up, it means you're getting promoted to go and fuck something else up. And this sucked because on my comic shop talk show we do on Friday nights, we covered all 5 issues of this comic individually. I have the hardcover of the story. I absolutely love this story, like a lot. I've reread it many times.
And
I
it
even
works
got the
really well on its own.
bonus side issues too, where it's got like the liner notes and shows you the stuff in black and white, little notes from the pencilers and the inkers, stuff like that. Notes from
the director's cut version or whatever it's called.
I bought those too. I love this story, and I remember thinking, man, in a perfect world, this movie probably actually had to be rated R to work. But of course, it had to come with rated R with the twist of Hamada. So if there's out there a Snyder contrarian, like, oh, he just hates Cyborg. No, guess what? Walter Hamada sucks too. And I will be consistent, say, yeah, I want this asshole away from my TMNT. Please, Walter Hamada, get the fuck out.
Let me just do a quick rundown of things that Walter Hamada's had his dick in. Nightmare on Elm Street 2010 remake. 2009 Friday the 13th remake.
Sucked.
The Nun. It. Joker. Okay.
Well, Joker was watchable.
Yeah. But that was just because he was part of DC. He is part of the Conjuring series, which I've never been a fan of, but that is one of the more successful series. I give him that. But he's also one of the idiots behind the Batman. Movies like 47 Ronin, which almost destroyed Keanu's career. He's behind all the DC shit like Birds of Prey, Shazam, Wonder Woman 84, Blue Beetle, The Flash, Black Adam, Aquaturd. You name it, he's been a part of it up until more recently. So yeah, he even made that awesome comedy that nobody fucking remembers with Steve Carell called The Incredible Burt Wonderstone. Right? Like, he is such a great fucking career.
More misses than hits, actually.
Exactly my point. He does more destruction than anything. Yeah.
I think I saw that. Is Burt Wonderstone the one that he was a magician or something?
Yeah, with Jim Carrey.
You know, I could barely, until you now mentioned it, I've never thought of that movie since I watched it.
Yep.
And I would have never thought about it again. And because you said the name of it, I kind of went through my files in my head and I brought it up, but I didn't even remember the movie existed.
All right, if Paramount is listening and you actually want to make this movie good, get a decent director and get a decent screenwriter. You got Tom Waltz. Who's this guy? All right. Where's script when we need him? All right. Oh, goody. He's a motherfucker who worked on goddamn Mutant Mayhem. You're already up the wrong goddamn.
All right. This is DOA then.
Mutant.
He works on the IDW story too, it looks like here.
No.
What are the chances they actually like use prosthetics and real physical, like,
he worked on Turtles? Okay, so actually stuff? I don't even know if he worked on the movie Mutant Mayhem. He worked on the video game Mutants in Manhattan, After the Fire, The Last Fall, Children of the Grave, TMNT Ghostbusters, and TMNT Ghostbusters 2. He doesn't, I don't even think he has it. Oh, here he does have an IMDb. Okay, let's see what he's written as far as anything on the screen. just stuff for the video games that I just said come up. So he's literally written nothing.
Yeah.
He's a fucking video game comic writer.
Mm-hmm.
Oh boy, I hope you trust this guy, because I don't know much
Perfect.
about him. I haven't read these fucking comics. Klobby, are you familiar with him at all?
No, he's just modern.
Yeah,
way
that
modern.
first word you when you have any modern name, Klobby's not correct. I might have some semblance of recognizance to a limit, but now the sad part is from IDW they got one needle in the haystack with their Saturday Morning Adventures comic, which is based off the late 80s TMNT cartoon. It's almost a year into the story, and it's been great. It looks, sounds, and feels just like the TMNT, your favorite cartoon of the TMNT, Tom. And it's been fun. It's been really fun. And I'm shocked that they've gotten a year in and it's been good. I originally hesitated for like 6-7 months because, well, it's IDW. And then all of a sudden, go ahead.
Either way, they won't do this the way they should. That's the thing that's going to bother me.
It's not going to look like this picture.
Well, and here's what bothered me about this picture is because this is what I said months ago. They should bring back Judith Hoag from the first movie as April, bring back Robbie Riss to do the voice of Michelangelo, and everybody else you can get, and you fucking do the movie as a sequel to the original 1990 movie, like, the revival sequels.
Yeah.
And that's what you do. You have the Turtles look just like they did in the 90s, only older or whatever. You can even bring back Elias Cortez. I don't remember, because Casey Jones I don't remember, is he mentioned or is he actually in any of the flashbacks? I'm trying to remember.
Casey Jones? He had died. His daughter, Casey Marie Jones, was in some stuff, but she didn't have a major part.
I remember they mentioned him, but
she had a good part in the story. It was a good serviceable part.
I'd still work him in there. I don't give a fuck.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't mind. I think even if you bring in a flashback, just to have him in there, just to show maybe where he fell to his death. But what I liked about Casey Marie is she was the biggest fan of her dad, so it was not a bad dad story. She really respected where her dad's legacy was. She wanted, she grew up a fan of the Turtles. She wanted to be a fighter like them, but she also needed to learn how to be good like them. And she couldn't just go out there like she wanted to and just be great. She actually had to put in some effort to be good, aka a character arc. She actually had a character arc. No, have they done damage with that character since? Maybe Girl bossed her up. I don't know, because I've not read the last Ronin sequel, which to me is no reason in having a sequel.
Refuse.
That kind of defeats the purpose of a story called The Last Ronin. So I refuse. I did read The Lost Years because that's not a sequel. It just adds, I guess you could say, additional context.
It leads up to I haven't read that yet, and I've only read.
That was pretty good. Now, here's the thing. There is a backup story in each issue. I purposefully stayed away from the backup story. I didn't read it at all because apparently the backup story, which is the final 5-7 pages, is, I guess, this what happens from the end of The Last Ronin number 5. I avoided that. So, but the story of Lost Years on its own is good. To me, once again, not a follow-up, adds context, good context might add too. But no, other than that, stay the hell away from it. As far as backup story.
My biggest issue with The Last Ronin was the end. It really pissed me off, but not the part of how the Turtles story ended, but the fact that they have to set up something for the future and the sequel shit like you're talking about. Because for me, it's we already got 4 Turtles. We don't need new ones. And they keep trying to shove female turtles into the mix. And I'm tired of it.
Shocker.
Even what's her face, Jenica, is not, unless something changes. She doesn't seem to be involved with the upcoming.
The shippers are the only ones who fucking like her.
Of course.
She's not even included on the upcoming IDW relaunch because they're relaunching the book at IDW, the main book, and she's not part of any of the stuff, which is shocking because I thought she was going to be. What other character are they going to try to replace her with? This time, maybe a trans version of a character? I don't know. I should say, just make if you're really gonna have that fifth turtle, make it be a once in a while turtle who you're originally gonna name Kirby, and let that be a cameo role at best.
I've always thought a fifth turtle was stupid.
It is
I
stupid.
mean, they tried it in the
I'm just
television
if
show.
you're gonna really have it in there,
Yeah.
an episode like a panel or two, and that's it, and that's nothing more than a character who just happens to be a turtle. He shouldn't be fighting crime. I don't even want. Yeah, I'm with you. I don't want another male turtle. Even they're fine as the four as they are.
Slash is enough.
Yeah,
you already have
even
Slash,
then,
and if you want to, and depending on which universe, you also have Toka. So what the fuck do you need another turtle for? You've got plenty.
Plenty.
You want to do a female mutant of some type? I'm cool with that, but I am just tired of this idea because this is what turned me off with that fucking live action series, and I think that's what you were referring to, CC, when they tried originally. And I can't even remember her stupid name of Venus. Yeah, like that pissed me off. Then I didn't like that show anyway, and then it just added to the, you know.
I mean, I was excited when they made it because they were following up on the actual live action appeal, right? It just wasn't well made, and they made a big deal out of, oh, here's the fifth turtle. It's a female turtle, and then she kind of like just dominated the storylines, right, and the scenes.
Yeah,
derailed everything.
Well, and
the turtles are bros. You know, if you put a female turtle in there, you will derail the vibe because it's like, you know, it's like real life. You know, you get four bros in a room and you put a female in there, and
exactly, but
it doesn't always work. It can be a good story, but it's
one of the recent, I don't know if it was a computer game or if it was for a game for phones, private for smartphones, but they made April O'Neil playable character. And I remember hearing that thinking, no, I like April. She has her place in the universe. She's essential even to this story.
She is,
but she's not
already, right?
a character who should be a reoccurring fighter. It's one thing. There's a rare moment where she has to help with turtles because they're in an anomaly of a situation, and she said, "Okay, you know what? I'm not a fighter, but this one time I need to help them because there's something that they need, and I'm the only one who's there to bring it to them." Okay, I get it. Makes sense. Awesome. But when you make her a regular who has to fight along them, that's when it's just like, no, this is not the turtles anymore.
Well, and to me, it adds too much sexual tension among the turtles.
Yeah.
It doesn't necessarily need to be there.
It's not that the turtles are...
And there's already enough stories where, especially Leonardo, who's kind of a romantic, and Mikey, who's a little bit of a romantic at heart too, where they have fallen in love with other characters in the past, and it's always been, you know, an unrequited love or whatever you want to call it, right? And that's fine. You can have those kind of things, but I don't need another fucking turtle. April should always be the mother figure. I don't like how in the Michael Bay movies and some of the more recent ones, they've been trying to make her more younger and more sex appealing to teenagers. It's like, no. Yes, she can be sexy, but she also has to be that motherly role to the boys. It's the thing that they're missing, right, in their life, and that's where she works best in the mix. And Michelle's right here. It's like putting a brother in Little Women or something. Like, what the fuck? You can have something without the rest. You know. Oh, we got Flip City in the house. Look at that. Hello, how you doing?
Flip City is going to be on my channel next Friday night. I can't wait to have them on.
And do check out Flip City Magazine and use the term midnight to save 10%.
And you'll get a little tinfoil hat.
Yes, you will. Maybe. But anyhow, like, yeah, I mean, Klobby, were you going to say something earlier? But
no.
Okay,
I'm not
sure. I know you're not too familiar with the turtles, but
I like turtles, but you know.
I like turtles.
And but I feel for you all about this. It's ridiculous what they're doing.
Hamada, yeah. Hey, I don't trust this writer. I don't know him well enough because it ain't me.
Perfectly qualified. Because, yeah, exactly. Boy, I know how that feels. He sounds so qualified because he wrote some stupid Marvel modern comics.
I just don't trust the production from the start because it's not a thing yet. It's like they're calling it a live action film, but like I said, it's not gonna look like this picture. I'm expecting
Where does this
a
put the
CGI.
common
Well, it
Yes, man,
doesn't.
yeah.
To be fair,
I'm
it
expecting a
doesn't need to look
CGI,
like this photo.
like-
It does not need to because
Well, it,
as
it,
someone
it
who's
doesn't,
read
but I mean,
the
like,
last Ronin,
it's,
it
it's
doesn't need to look like this. What it needs to
and
do
I
is
wouldn't
be
want
a,
it to look exactly. It should look different. But I mean, what I mean is like, is this going to be a CGI turtle and CGI, like all CGI characters? It's like calling live action Lion King.
It would be
wasn't-
pretty
it wasn't
stupid
a
to
live
waste the
action
money.
movie, you
It would be
know?
pretty stupid to waste the money on the CGI when the turtle in question here is almost fully clothed through the entire film or story, and you
Yeah.
only it's hooded, and not only that, it's one turtle through most of the story, so you don't even have to worry. Like that's what I was saying before. Is this would be one of the cheapest fucking Ninja Turtle movies you'll ever make?
mm-hmm. Yeah,
Because
you
unless you're
can
doing all
rely
the
on one
flashback
turtle
stuff,
most of the
yeah.
movie. And the Earth 3 turtles, you have them in for a scene, and then that's it. And that's pretty much how the last Ronin story is done anyway. You had them involved mostly in like a flashback each, and then you have like moments where they have like a cameo as like a ghost type of thing, like a hallucination, like an Obi-Wan type, and that's it. Their roles were very small compared to the actual Ronin. And that would be much cheaper. And also you can make it actually on the city grounds, because a lot of the movie takes place on city grounds. So you don't have to go to space, you don't have to go some weird area, you have to go in the sewers. You can do
No,
this
you're
on
right, yeah.
actual city.
No, we're
above
practically
ground.
aged up from the 1990 film now. That was my point, right? Like
Mhm.
age appropriate almost. So yeah.
It really
I,
is.
I want to see like the details of an actual city, and that red on his arm in this picture. I want that hand painted on an actual
dude.
prosthetic, so it's matching the background of the city. And it can be dark
Mhm.
and it can be gritty. That's fine. And but it should be like legitimate details in camera. You know, like
Mhm.
the leather. It needs to be real. You know,
Mhm.
on his shoulder.
They need to have real turtles like in the original movies. It needs to be real turtles and them actually doing like the fighting and such. If you're
And
gonna
you don't
make
even
this
have to
like
acknowledge anything but the first film. That's the beauty of it, right?
no,
So
you don't. You could
Especially not turtles in time. The less we talk about that, the better.
just
well, and that's where I say bring back Judith Hoag, and you know she's more than willing. She has her own YouTube channel. She
she'd
talks
do
about
it.
Ninja Turtles all the fucking time. She's the one who got here. This fucking
Well, it's
And
funny
and
'cause
she's
she
taking
originally
care of
got
herself.
onto the role because
She looks
originally
great,
wasn't
yeah.
Right, she
familiar.
looks great. I
and
just
she
saw-
got
I
us
took-
this figure right here. I know it's
Did
not
she
April,
really?
it's Casey. She got us this
What?
because Elias didn't think anybody gave a shit. She kept
What?
bugging him and bugging him and bugging him, telling him, sign off your rights to the likeness so they can do your goddamn figure already. People want it.
Oh,
Who did that?
dude. Judith Hoag,
Judith.
the actress who
Judith
played
did?
April
She
O'Neil.
bugged the hell out of him and told him,
Okay, cool.
get it done. Because she's like, people want your figure, man. And he's like, oh, nobody remembers that. Nobody remembers that shit.
You know, maybe he's one of those guys who keeps himself maybe a little bit more removed from Hollywood, and so that's great. And it sounds like he actually has.
He does.
humility
And
to
I believe
himself,
he's
which is
Canadian, if I'm not
respectable.
mistaken. And
That's
he's done a lot more
respectable.
serious stuff since then. That's the whole thing is he's been more, he's always been more of a serious actor. Like him taking that role at that time was kind of he was not that big or anything like that, but he was one of those well-known actors to where it's like, holy shit, you've got some pedigree in here. This guy's an actor.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely.
like-
I love him as Casey Jones, and it's good to know Judith Hoag is
Yeah.
cool like that. I didn't know that about her. That's freaking awesome. I really respect her, and the fact that I think it was Robin Williams who gave her the actual source material. Tell me if I'm wrong, Tom, but I think that's what it was. He gave her the source material to say, hey, listen, this is what April O'Neil's like. This is what her relationship with the Turtles are like. And she learned from Robin Williams because Robin Williams was a fan of the original TMNT comics, like he was a actual comic fan as well. Now, I know that is a fact. He was a comic fan. I do know that.
Yeah.
Well, that was the thing is, Robin and her worked together on Cadillac Man. And she went in for her audition while they were working on that movie. And she's like, I have this audition and it's for this thing like Ninja Turtles or something. I have no idea what it is. And so he gave her the full rundown of what the Ninja Turtles were because he's a fan of the comics and video game.
Man, that's cool. See, that was at a time where she was trying to familiarize herself. And he is someone who's like, hey, I'll get you some here just so you have something to go to understand this. Nowadays, nowadays it's the expectation to not get near that stuff and even entertain that thought.
what I think is cool is that I wonder if she hadn't talked to Robin Williams, if she'd even have gotten the role, because that's so cool that you actually have somebody like Robin Williams with all of his enthusiasm explaining this to you and getting you excited about it, and then you're going for the audition, and you're not just walking in kind of not knowing. And at the time, there wasn't internet for her to go research everything. He probably gave her a lot of really great info.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, and I think he even had the original comics and stuff at that time, if I remember right, too.
I had
He was a
heard
big
that
geek.
he did.
Robin
I
Williams
heard-
was a huge geek.
Oh yeah,
Like,
he's
he
a gamer,
loved.
he's a
Well, I mean, he even
fan.
named his kid Zelda, for fuck's sake.
Yeah,
I
he
mean,
loves games and comics and stuff.
Yeah. And yes, it's after the game. He was that much of a geek.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that was where you were here, Clobby, when we were talking about Robin Williams and Howard the Duck, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So you knew that story. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. As I say, I figured you knew that. But let's see what you guys are talking about there out in the chat. We got Jason Webster sending in 10 Australian dollar dues. It's got to be like 7 a.m. down there, ain't it? Universal announces the following crossovers: the Bad Fast and Furious guys. So that's like Bad Boys and Fast and Furious. Gotcha. 50 Shades of Big Fat Greek Weddings. That'd be an interesting one. Insidious Neighbors. Bring
Dude,
Happy
they made
Death
a
Day on.
third movie to that. Why?
Five Nights at Super Mario Brothers. Now that one might work. It'd be basically like Luigi's castle. There you go. Thank you for that, Jason. And then we got Mr. Burger in the house.
Mr.
We're gonna be having him on. It wasn't supposed to be tonight, was it? Shit. We're supposed to be having Mr. Burger on, and I forgot. Maybe it was supposed to be tonight. Did I fuck up? I think I did.
Let him know if he messed up, Mr. Burger. He apologizes genuinely.
Oh yeah, he was supposed to be here tonight. Shit.
Oh,
Oops.
get him in here. Get him in.
No.
Get him in.
I'll send you the link. We're almost done today, but we'll definitely have you back next week. That was my apology. I've had a day from hell, you guys. You have no idea. It started
why
off.
we didn't hear from you
then-
for hours. So I believe
Yeah,
you when
that's
you say
why.
that. We
You
didn't hear from you for
me
hours.
It was very
And I
elusive.
still didn't
today.
get done what I wanted to get done. So yeah, it's a long, convoluted story. Part of it has to do with fucking medical shit and other things, and yeah, it's just stupidity and playing ping pong with the fucking doctors and trying to get prescriptions filled and things filled for like I got sleep apnea, so I have a CPAP machine. I've been trying for 6 months just to get like my fucking mask and all that kind of stuff. Like, it's just been a nightmare. So I was dealing with that shit all day on top of everything else and not getting no sleep. But yeah. Anyway, I am so sorry, Mr. Burger. I completely spaced this out. This is my fault. But you, of course, are being a very gracious gentleman by sending in $5, saying, I've read the comic. It's brilliant. Hamada's a hack, but he's not my issue. Director, writer, producer. This is my worry. Yes. And if you want to pop in here and say a few things now, feel free, buddy. But we'll definitely have you on again next week. That was my fault completely. I feel like such an ass now. Jason Webster sends in 10 Australian, says, Paramount announces further crossovers. Mean Girls Scream. That might work. Paranormal Jackass. That one I want to see.
Yeah,
Quiet
right.
Cloverfield Place. I'm going to pass on that one. The Naked Top Gun. That's got some potential.
Yeah.
That sounds like the porno. Triple X Lara Croft. I don't know anybody who's going to argue with that one. And Jack Ryan's Mission Impossible. That one might be too much Inception going on there.
Yeah, for real.
'Cause Tom Cruise is in both. So, or didn't he? Yeah, he played Jack Ryan for a while, right? No,
Yes, he did. Unfortunately,
I don't know. I
it
can't
was
keep
a
him.
movie. It's for a movie.
Yeah,
He should
just
have never
one.
done that.
Then we got Butt Crack Media in the house. How you doing, Mr. Butt Crack Media? Who sends in a member chat for 22 months. Thank you for that. We got Lance Corporal Waffles, who's been a member for 7 months. Says the best lines from that one, Donnie. You're claustrophobic. You want a fist in the mouth? I never looked at another guy. He means you're afraid of enclosed spaces.
I
Look, I don't have to deal with this.
Now
I'm
I
gonna
want
sleep
to
in the
watch
truck.
TMNT.
Afraid of enclosed spaces. Then he opens up the window. Kitty Bear has been a member for 25 months. Holy crap, holy. Thank you so much, Kitty Bear. Big
Nice.
supporter. Appreciate it. Beverly Hills RoboCop. Now that's something I'd watch.
Mm-hmm. Beverly Hills Robo. Hey, that's a crossover. I wouldn't mind either. But it's got to have the original guys, no girl bosses, full stop. Not the
Dinner alive, I'm putting a banana in your tailpipe.
You're not gonna fall for the banana in the tailpipe?
No,
You fell
no
for it.
kidding.
RoboCop.
Don't give him that idea.
Yeah, right. But nowadays, that's considered.
That was
giving him
almost
ideas.
RoboCop. That almost happened. People,
Really?
there was a moment where they were going to set up the end of RoboCop because remember, Lewis is shot up, and she's like, "I look like shit." Remember that? And he's like, "They fix you. They fix everything."
They
There
were
was
going to
a
make her a
moment-
RoboCop.
They were going to make her. They were thinking about it.
Yeah.
I mean, it would work now because they're buying into
Oh,
all
they-
the DEI.
They do it
to
now.
just
But it was on the
Very-
cards at the
very,
time, so yeah.
Yeah.
could move from one identity to another quite easily.
I don't know if I would have minded Lewis as a RoboCop. I think she would have been a pretty badass RoboCop, actually.
And at least it would have been an interesting development from the plot that actually makes sense. Meaning, it's not that we just came and the whole thing. I think that under the
Phrasing,
circumstances, it wouldn't have been the end of the world if they would have had a Verhoeven in his prime with some good ideas there. It could have been okay.
I want big fucking robo tits.
I mean, there are ways
More
that it could be
blood,
good.
more
Whether or not they actually do it.
Why are you fucking my movie?
That's funny.
I love Oreo wants a cookie. Or Robo wants an Oreo cookie. Oh, bro, he doesn't get a Robo doesn't get a cookie till he does the scene. You guys ever hear that story? That was on the new Robo doc, and Peter Weller denies it, but there's a few people who back it up that Peter Weller was being such a dickhole because he wanted an Oreo cookie and he was refusing to do the one scene until he got his Oreo cookie.
Wow.
And the first assistant's like, Robo don't get no Oreo.
I believe the story. He sounds like he was a complete douche, but he
Did
was
you hear
a good
this story?
RoboCop.
Because he was being a dickhole, he didn't want to do the scene. So then finally, the PA just shoves a whole big fucking stack of Oreos in his mouth like this, and eats the whole fucking thing. And he got so pissed. It's a great story.
I love that RoboDoc, by the way.
It is great. It is one of the better documentaries we've gotten in a long time. But you got to sit down. It's like 4 hours, something like that.
I think at least 4 hours. And before it started, I'm like, what? I'm going to sit and watch 4 hours of this? And then I started watching it, and I watched all the 4 hours.
Yeah.
Didn't even take a break. I had to see more.
I know, right? That story is one of the best, though. Robo don't get no Oreo.
It was a funny part, yeah.
But yeah, I guess Peter was a bit of a pain in the ass from time to time. But he almost got fired, too, because the suit didn't work. So he's pitching a fit, and he refused to come out and work. So they ended up shutting down production. I think what was it for another? What did they say? Price like another 2 weeks, just so he could go and
Yeah, and then
work
they
on it,
had
something like that.
They
Yeah.
had that guy that was an expert in movement and pantomime, like a teacher, and he was on set with him, coaching him. Or
Yeah,
there was
because everything
something-
they had done for the last few weeks went completely out the fucking window once he put the suit on. He couldn't move at all.
Right. But once they brought that guy, it kind of eased the tensions.
Because Peter Weller's like, the suit don't fucking work. Anyway, we went on a tangent there, but let's see what we got here from the. We got Kitty Bear saying the 3 John Wick Amigos. Now that's something that could be funny. Is it going to be 3 John Wicks, or you just going to bring back the 3 Amigos?
Oh,
That's too bad. That movie got so trashed when it came out.
I liked it even when it came out. I saw it in the theater.
My little buttercup is the sweetest smile.
El
it's a
Guapo.
fun movie.
Yeah, it's basically the Magnificent Seven with Chevy Chase, Martin Short, and
Yeah,
Steve
it's
Martin.
fun. Yeah.
Right.
I love the part where they realize that they're actually using real bullets. He gets
Yeah.
shot. I always loved that movie as a kid, but who didn't? besides Roger Ebert and Gene Siskel.
Yeah. The critics weren't too crappy, too kind to it, but the public liked it. That's what it usually went back then.
Yeah, as I say, the critics were never too kind to comedy ever.
No, but boy, I miss those days though when there was actually were critics, so we could get mad at them, but in a fun way, and we could still watch them give it opinions. And
yeah,
actually,
a lot of them were even ones I vehemently disagree with. At least I knew they were being honest, even if I strongly rejected their takes. And there are some who I rejected. Trust me. But at least I knew that they meant it. I'd rather have that than people who are liking something just like something, and even vice versa.
Mm.
Yeah. Was there anything else that came out of Cinemacon? Did we talk about the Joker trailer? I don't remember.
We did not. They came out yesterday, not on a Tuesday.
The Christopher Reeve documentary also.
Oh, that's right. So
we mentioned that one vaguely, but that was what we heard it was coming out
after the stream.
Yeah, it was after the stream. So what Klobby's talking about is there's a Christopher Reeve documentary that Warner Brothers picked up, and they're releasing theatrically this July. Did you say, Klobby, or is it next September?
Which is his birth month, so maybe that's why they're doing it in September.
So yeah, I'm looking forward to that. That'll be interesting.
Oh yeah,
go see that theater.
That'll be a see in theaters. Agreed. That's
Man. The Christopher Reeve story. Yeah.
And then we've got the Joker 2 trailer.
Oh boy, yawn.
Well, we'll start with you, Klobby. What was your reaction to it? I guess.
You don't want to hear my opinion on it because I resent the first movie and I think the first.
No, that's fine. I want to hear a multitude of
overrated drivel that was just an excuse to get a amalgamated remakes of Taxi Driver and King of Comedy, a big budget. By misusing a comic property that really there never should be any Joker movie anyway. Interesting enough, but highly overrated. How that movie made $1 billion will remain a mystery to me forever. It's nothing to do with the character from the comics, and this looks just the same. And I don't know, but people who like the first one may be intrigued by this trailer. I don't know. I'm not a big Harley Quinn fan anyway, even other than the animated series. I think she's a terrible comic book character. She's always been horrible in the comics, in my opinion. So, just wasn't for me. But what do I know? It made $1 billion, so go for it. Enjoy.
No, that's fair. I mean, I went into the first film actively hating the idea, and that's probably why I wound up liking it more than I expected to.
And it's an interesting enough film. It's just nothing to do with the character, and so it's very disingenuous to me.
Yeah, I mean, again, I can't argue with your point, right? It's not the Joker.
It's not the Batman villain at all. It's just that simple.
And they almost made the mistake that I was afraid they were going to make in the movie, but they kind of sidestepped it, and that was I don't even know if you were on yet, Klobby. I don't even remember who all was still on here at that time, if any of you guys
I wasn't around at that time.
But I had said that if they have it to where the Joker's responsible for Bruce Wayne's parents dying in this movie, I'm going to throw a fit. They didn't go there. They came close.
Oh, they came very close, and that was a deal breaker for me.
But they did portray Thomas Wayne as a total scumbag. And
that was the other part I hated.
It's trash. Just like they did in the stupid The Batman movie, which I also hated the way they portrayed the Waynes. So, this is a non-starter for me. I admit that Phoenix is interesting in the movie, but don't pretend this has anything to do with the DC Comics character of the same name. It's not, and they don't really make much of a pretense of it in that movie, to be fair to them. It's just it was used to so they could get a bigger budget for an art film. And that's that.
Yeah.
I mean, fine, people liked it. Everyone, obviously, I'm in the wrong. I'm in the minority because everyone loved it and thought it was so wonderful and stuff.
I wouldn't say you are. See, here's the thing with that movie, and this is probably why I give it a little bit more of a pass than you are. And it's pretty much, I probably feel closer to the same way you do about it, but I don't hate it only because I guess I could. To me, it feels like, how in a comic book or in a TV episode where they basically are clearly paying homage to a movie, like or a story like obviously Christmas Carols. Every TV show has had a Christmas Carol episode.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
So to me, this kind of feels like, oh, we're going to do a Joker-ish story, but it's going to be a Joker through the visage of, Taxi Driver and King of Comedy. Okay. And in that respect, as it is on its own, and since they didn't really try to establish too much Batman shit, but I agree with you guys. To me, I can kind of look at it and go, yeah, it was cool. It was kind of a thing. It was an experiment. Is it like this Oscar-worthy thing that everybody was making it out to be? No, that's where I definitely agree with you being very overhyped, overpraised. And I think the timing was more so important than anything else, because you had people starving at that point for anything remotely good out of DC. Because, and I said this, I can't remember if it was on Mr. H's stream the other day or if it was on the morning show, but we got spoiled by, I think it was the morning show. We got spoiled by Marvel, right? Mm-hmm. I think people forgot how shitty comic book movies were before Iron Man and Captain America and stuff like that. Outside of the Dark Knight and stuff like that, there was a lot. Yeah, that's my point though. Most comic book movies were garbage, especially considering they were nothing remotely like the original stories. Right. And then you finally got Marvel, which kind of spoiled us in a weird way, I would say.
For about 10 years. That was pretty
decent. For about 10 years. Yeah. And we got this expectation out of them that like all these movies were going to be so great. So my point is if DC was even remotely decent, this movie wouldn't have done shit. The reason this movie did so well is because people didn't like what DC was doing. They were starving for something Batman and Joker. And this filled that void. And you kind of had that with the Batman, but more people looked at that and just were like, yeah, no, I'm not interested. Right?
Of all characters to do something, at least it is well made and interesting like this movie is, admittedly. To do it with the character like, I'm not, by the way, don't call it the Joker, it's just called Joker. To do it with of all people, a villain instead of an excellent character, because villains don't need their own, never need their own stories, in my opinion. They're there for the heroes. That's what they were created for. But when I say all that stuff, it's not like I'm really that aggravated by it. It was interesting enough. It was just, I don't know, it was so blown out of proportion, I guess is what it kind of, but it's fine. People.
No, I agree.
It's a little bit overrated, in my opinion. That's basically it for me.
And we'll see if the sequel can live up to the hype, Clobby. You might
Phoenix
be more
is really
right
good,
than you
though.
think.
Phoenix is his performance is definitely the most interesting thing about that first movie to me.
Well, I'm curious to see what some people will feel about the Harley portrayal, because that's the thing that made me kind of sidestep this one a little bit.
I'll never know.
And the musical aspect.
Well, in price,
the trailer. So the trailer, like it didn't give away the story much, and it didn't really like. If you didn't know it was going to be a musical, would you know that this is a musical after watching?
No, you wouldn't know.
No, but what I'm talking about is the change. The change in. I mean, and this really isn't much different than what they've changed as far as the Joker. But Harley has a pretty set backstory, right? Everybody knows Harley is a former doctor who got twisted by the Joker.
For us. It's set for us, but to current day Hollywood, nothing is set when it doesn't work in their favor.
Right.
So this is where I'm curious if more people are going to have an issue with that. I guess is what I'm asking.
I don't think they'll mind.
They're changing her story, you say?
Yeah, she's a patient. Probably. She's not a doctor.
But is he maybe hallucinating? Maybe she is a doctor. Maybe she's a doctor and he thinks she's a patient. Do we really know if it's coming from his perspective? Because the first movie had a lot of parts that he thought were happening, but then they weren't happening. So,
or were they? I mean, they don't tell you much.
I don't like that. I don't like that. Well, is it or is it not? Especially when it's so many scenes. One thing when it's like one scene in a movie, that could be fun. You can play around with the idea. But when it becomes a chunk of the movie, it's just like, well, then what am I paying to see? Because I want to at least know what is my story.
Well, the first movie does at least give you a good idea at the end what was real and what wasn't.
Right.
And I think this movie will do the same. But I think you guys are right. I'm more curious though is whose point of view it will be through, because that was one of the things I could see where it would be a musical is if it was through her point of view and her descent into madness, through the musical stuff. But I can see it's more so, that you can see them setting up the musical bits in the trailer. Like they have the more surreal scenery behind them clearly in the musical scenes. So they're not set in the real world. So that's what I was trying to tell people to begin with. It's not like they're just going to start singing in the middle of, like a really uncalled for scene. It's going to be in her imagination, in her daydreams, you know, that kind of a thing more so is what
So you're saying they're not going to do, we're going to win this race?
No. Lemonade. Like,
Yeah, they're not going to do that at
refreshing
least.
yes, I know the joke. Absolutely. So no, and I'm not trying to make excuses for the movie. I honestly,
no.
Clobby, I think I'm going to have an opposite. And this is my prediction on my behalf. I think I'm going to have the opposite effect with this one that I did with the first one. Because I'm going into this one almost like with a blank slate, going, okay, I'm not going to prejudge it too much because I prejudged the original one and I had to eat a little crow on that.
Mm-hmm.
And this one, I'm like, I wonder if we're going to go into it and it's going to be horrible. And then I hope I'm wrong. That's
I think
going
it's
to
be good.
I have no dog in the race because, like I said, there's some people in the chat that really like the first one. That's cool. Look, I don't really hate the first one. I just don't really care much for the whole what I was talking about, how they just use that property to do something else, kind of on a certain level. Not even a fanboy level, just like I think it's a little disingenuous to do that. That said, I thought the movie is interesting enough. It's just the first one. It's just not much to do with the character for the comics, which is fine if that doesn't mean anything to you. But the second one I have no interest in watching, and I won't go to the theater like I did for the first one. So I'll never know. But I hope you all who are into this really enjoy it. I mean, it's nothing.
I think
that's something I hate or anything.
Yeah. I think that the first one was sort of interesting as a one-off. I didn't see it thinking to myself, can you make 5 more of these? I felt like this was interesting, and I don't need to see more of it. And when you said, oh, well, what if it was more, but there was also a musical element to it, and Lady Gaga would be there? On paper, it doesn't sound that great. The trailer didn't look terrible, but on paper, I've never really been excited for this. But I'll probably give it a chance when it comes out.
Fair enough. Yeah.
I mean, it is the kind of concept that should fail, right? But when I look at trailers, it's like you can take a bad movie and try to make it look good, but the trailer actually, at least to me, anyways, to my eyes, visually, it looks like there's a well-shot movie here, and it also felt like it was confident. It wasn't trying to hide the fact that it's a musical. Musicals are actually doing, like, this is a good time to release a musical, right? And they're not doing original songs, which I kind of balked at when I heard about that. But at the same time, Moulin Rouge was a big movie when it came out, right? That succeeded.
The jukebox musical thing, yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't
will
know.
Never watch that movie.
I haven't either.
I'm not sure this is a situation, and I'm all about respecting the canon, right? But I'm not sure this is a situation where if they stray a bit, there's going to be enough people against a well-filmed movie. Like they're just, I got a good vibe from the energy of what I saw in the trailer. Maybe
there's no canon.
Maybe they just managed to pull this off somehow.
Yeah. And I mean, going off
a movie that'll capture people,
You're right. And going off of what, I think Clobby was saying before too, is that the beauty of this movie is it's not pretending to be this ultimate version of the Joker. It's not saying it's trying to be the Batman Joker per se. Like, I mean, there's so many ways it's not the Joker. It's just doing its own thing. And on that note, I guess
it should have changed its name. When you're aware of what you're doing, you might as well just change the name, because you're just telling
nobody
me that
would have gone
you
to
want
see
the
it.
name. You want the name recognition. You want the name recognition. You want the benefits of the name recognition. That's all you're telling me.
The thing is, though, Nick, I agree with you to a point. I agree with you to a point. But if this wasn't Joker, then it would literally just be a ripoff of Taxi Driver and King of Comedy, right? Like it would just be. That's what makes it unique.
I don't disagree on that. That's the thing. To me, it doesn't come off as unique when I watch it.
Well, that's to me what makes it. It's that Tarantino spin on it, right? Like, and because a lot of people are quick to go, all Tarantino does is rip off. It's like, no. Time out. What Tarantino does is he takes all these little elements from all these things that you loved from your past that he loves too, and he literally remixes them like a DJ. And he always throws some new element in there to make it feel fresh.
That's what Alan Moore used to do. That's exactly what Alan Moore used to do.
Exactly what Alan Moore did.
Yeah.
So you get all the flavors of a little blaxploitation and a little bit of 70s cinema mixed with kung fu cinema mixed with
right,
and then he'll spin it with something absolutely completely unique.
Yeah.
And that's what this movie's doing, and that's where I don't have so much of a problem with it. Yeah.
He's an innovator.
Exactly. Now, I agree with you, Clobby. On a certain level, as far as a comic book fan goes, I can see where this is going to rub people the wrong way, especially with the Harley story. But at the end of the day, I'm curious how it goes. I think they're doing themselves a disservice doing it as a jukebox musical, though. That to me is, I think, the biggest mistake, because what you're sacrificing the teeny bopper crowd who, I recognize that song, for look at how big of a deal the Ken song was in Barbie.
Mm-hmm.
And like you guys were just pointing out, Wonka was a big movie this last year. The music was shit, but that's
the trailer had just a few seconds of a tease of one song. Didn't grab me. And
dudes like, don't watch musicals though.
They do to get laid, and that's about it.
Yeah, okay, I'll give you that.
They will in this case.
I'll watch certain musicals, like certain classic ones, fine, but like I like most modern musicals I can't stand. But like I dug like Hedwig and the Angry Inch. Little Shop of Horrors isn't a modern one, but that's kind of what I'm getting at, is stuff like that, a little bit more edgier stuff. But I can't stand these ones like they did with like The Producers and Hairspray and shit like that. Footloose is another jukebox musical, really, but see, that one makes a little bit more sense because you're going to take the songs that made from the soundtrack and put them in as songs into the story.
I guess,
but like even then, that's like a rarity because there's not too many of those you can do. Like you can't do The Breakfast Club. You got what, 2 songs, 1 song. But that could work as a play, but not as a musical, right? Like, you know what I mean? Like but in this day and age, when we're doing stuff like this, I don't mind it. It's an also ran thing. It's not trying to pretend to be anything other than what it is. So I guess we'll have to wait and see how it pans out. I mean, maybe you could be right, Clobby, and the shine of the first film has wore off and people just aren't going to buy into this one.
No, I think they might. I think actually my prediction is it's gonna be shockingly popular, especially amongst people who like the first one. And let's face it, Lady Gaga's popular. She's not my cup of tea. I mean, I have no dog in the hunt. I didn't want to make it sound like I even really hate the first movie. I was always just a little pet peeve of mine that they just used that property to get a bigger budget and more name recognition. But guess what? It worked. So they don't really care what I think, and I don't blame them. I don't care. Even I don't care what I think. It made its money and fine. But this one just, I won't be going back. It didn't sell me enough to care after the first one, but a lot of people do. So I think it could be another B for him, as in billion. I don't know.
Well, and the stupidity of making it a jukebox musical, and actually, I don't know if they confirmed that. I think that was just a rumor. Is you got Lady fucking Gaga in here? Have her write 6 original songs,
right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's the thing is, if you're gonna do original songs, you do have to make them good, right? You have to make them great.
I mean, I'm not like the hugest Lady Gaga fan, but the bitch can write music. Like what? I'm not going to deny
covers,
it.
It's a safe play, right? Because you can screw up making them good covers, but they are well-known tracks.
Why they're not? She's not making original tracks.
I don't know. The rumor going around was that it's a jukebox musical, and I think there's like 13, 14 songs. I don't know. CC, what were you saying there? I'm sorry, buddy.
No, I heard 15, but I mean, I don't. I mean, it's just doing covers is a safer play because people obviously they recognize the music. If you do it really well, put a couple of Lady Gaga songs in there. But you're right. I mean, when you do a musical and you do like some of the greatest, most remembered musicals of all time, they're not jukebox, right? Necessarily, you get out. And I remember getting Elton John to do "Can You Feel the Love Tonight." It was huge for The Lion King. That's not the only reason The Lion King succeeded, but when you think about classic Disney movies, those were great original musicals, right? And
yeah, but I mean, she did a couple songs for that Star Is Born and stuff like that. I mean,
she did for Top Gun, which was all right.
Yeah.
I do get a feeling like musicals are happening a little bit right now. They're like that there's a little bit of that going around. So as much as the first movie came out at the right time to make money, I almost get the sense that this movie somehow is coming out at the right time.
I think the problem I have with jukebox musicals is Glee.
Yeah, well,
never watched it.
Never watched it.
Neither did I, but they ruined it.
It's a show for women.
Yes.
Yeah.
Gay dudes.
Full
Yeah.
stop.
Well, there's a bit of that here, right? I mean, they clearly are marketing this a little bit to women.
And gay dudes.
Oh,
Just,
they
you know.
of course they are. They want to bring them in because they think women bring in women. I mean, yeah, that's true to a point. It is. Obviously, Barbie movie made gangbuster money, but women
Mhm.
also do like men, and they forgot somehow that that is a real thing that happens in the world too. Two things can be true.
The only reason I won't count this movie out, and I'll credit Script Doctor for saying this, is basically the only person in the world who can get everybody to quit thinking about or talking about Taylor Swift is Lady Gaga.
I
So
believe that. I
I
believe that.
believe that.
No, I don't doubt that one bit. I'm sure the movie's gonna do great. I'm sure. I would not be surprised if it even comes close to doing um $1 million. Will it do 1 million like the last one? I don't know, but would I be
I think you
surprised
mean
if
$1
it
billion,
happened?
Dr. Evil, but
Sorry,
yeah.
that's what I meant to
One,
say. I'm
two.
sorry. I meant to say billion. No,
$1
it'll
million.
do at the very minimum. It's gonna do well, and I mean that worldwide, domestically, outside domestic. It's gonna do well. It's gonna. There's clear an audience that likes this. Lady Gaga, she does have actual paying customers, and they'll just be happy of the idea that she's in it. Whether it's actually good or not is a whole other separate conversation. But the fact that she's in it, they're going to be invested on that alone. And yeah, a lot of people do also like Joaquin Phoenix's interpretation of that character. I'll just say that interpretation of the character because it's not the character. It's going to do fine. I'm sure it's at the very minimum. It's probably going to do 750, 800 million, if not $1 billion. I think it's going to do very well. My interest is zilch.
500
All right,
million.
anybody else? Oh, you think it's only gonna do half as good?
I don't know. I mean, the first one had some kind of thing going to it. Maybe I'm wrong. My instinct tells me that if it's going to go around and there's 15 songs and they keep singing, 500 million.
Well, see,
That sounds
I feel like
excessive.
that's going to keep them going,
Good point.
especially with the normie audiences. I could see normie audiences just being saying, well, it's this version of the characters. And a lot of normies will accept anything that has the names attached to it because it just has the names attached to it. And they don't have
Maybe you're
the
right.
same
Maybe
frame
I'm
of
not looking at
reference
it
that
correctly.
you and I do. They will eat this up more than you
You're
and I
probably
will.
right. You're probably right.
I mean, many people ate up this version of a Joker. So it just goes to show you how much more
I could be
they'll
wrong.
eat it
Maybe
up.
maybe it will make $1 billion. I think it'll start off strong. The question is if it goes and becomes this bigger and bigger thing, or people go and then see that it's some people are singing. It really matters how much singing there will be. If this is a movie that it is all the time songs, I don't know what to tell you.
All right. Well, let's see what you guys are talking about there in the chat. Warrior Justice says, "Why make $1 billion when we can make $1 million, Nick?"
Yeah, that was a I'll own that. That was a really I
That
meant
was
to say
funny.
$1 billion, and it was funny. I'm not exempt from criticism. I
Dr.
meant to say
Evil.
$1 billion. I meant to say $1 billion because it really is
For
gonna make money.
$1
Just
million.
because I may not be a fan of something doesn't mean I'm one of those people who think, well, because I hate it, it must mean it's gonna
Yeah.
do bad. There's a lot of things that I can't stand that are popular, but there's also things I like that are popular. But I also happen to love things that are not popular as well. But just because I love something doesn't mean it's the biggest thing in the world. And this is something I've learned most people are oblivious to.
Indeed. Then we got
Justin
Dearest.
Bieber was popular.
Yeah.
Yeah,
For
and I
some
can't
reason.
stand him. Ugh.
Sorry
Dearest
about
sends
that.
in. No, he should be. Dearest sends in $2. Says Saving Private Benjamin. Okay,
Yeah.
good movie.
I see what you did there.
Yeah. Brett Cohen sends in $5 Australian. Says Ree Weller and RoboCop saw 4 movies from 2001 up on Tubi. Are they any good, or will they spoil headcanon?
Saw
Ree Weller and RoboCop saw 4
One
movies
minute.
from 2001 on Tubi.
Movies from 2001.
Are you talking about all the RoboCop miniseries they had? Prime Directives, is that the one you're talking about? I think I know what you're talking about now. Yeah.
Peter Weller
It's-
was in that?
No,
No.
he's not in it. He's not. It was okay. It wasn't horrible. they were you could see what they were up to. They even have a black dude play as a new RoboCop in it too. It's kind of cool. It was all right from my memory, but I haven't seen it in like 20, 30 years.
Yeah.
It was clearly like a backdoor pilot to try and make another TV show, and it just didn't quite work.
Wasn't it on the Sci-Fi Channel, or was that a different show?
I think
the
so.
RoboCop series, maybe.
It was kind of, well, they did a series, and then this was after this. It was called Prime Directive. It was like a 4-part. It was a 4-part mini series.
Okay,
and it was to set up kind of like a. Hopefully, I think they were trying to do it as a backdoor pilot series, but it just didn't work out. Yeah, it was all right. It definitely is like early 2000s. Yeah, it was either Sci-Fi USA or FX. It was one of those three. Yeah, I think Klobby's right. It was Sci-Fi, but yeah. Yeah. If you want, check them out, go for it. I didn't hate them; they were all right. And then we got Brian Keith in the house, who says with $10, I didn't like the Joker movie because I found it very hard to believe that some poor, pathetic loser that he became the evil, sadistic character we comic fans have grown to love. He was born crazy. Well, and here's one thing I didn't hate about the movie was that it kind of set up this idea that he's more of an influence on somebody who could possibly be that Joker that we know down the road. He's clearly not the Joker like Klobby.
Oh, that drove me.
Yeah, it's not called the Joker.
Yeah, and what else you have here is they don't paint him as some sympathetic character in a way that makes you care about him at the end of the movie. He's still a fucking horrible guy.
I felt like
clearly he's got some issues,
but I felt like they were trying to portray him
a little bit.
I got that differently, Tom. I felt like they were trying to make him feel bad, especially when they had him pinned up against Thomas Wayne and their whole it's the rich white billionaire guy.
Well, see, and here's where when you go back through, you gotta
hate Thomas Wayne, and I know people who did hate Thomas Wayne in that scene. I know people who did.
And the reason I don't always jump back to that always is because I never know now, going back through it, what part was real and what wasn't. So it makes me wonder if that shit was all in his head.
That's even worse. And then it tells me I'm wasting my time with the movie.
Well, not really. It just makes it out that he's creating his own victimhood in his own head. That's kind of the way I took it. Because by the end of the movie, I don't like him. And maybe it helps that I'm not the biggest Joaquin Phoenix fan. Because honestly, I'm not a big fan of, like, I've thought some of the movies he did when he was a kid were okay. Yeah. But I did not like him as Johnny Cash. I think he's a very overrated actor. All he does a lot of time is just talk like this, and that's acting. That's what he does in most of his movies. If you've seen any of his movies prior to this, like, that's what he does through most of them. And to me, it's just kind of, it's not really anything to write home about. But this was the first time I saw him do something where he clearly dug down, and it was a dark. I bought into what he was doing. Again, I don't see it as the Joker, but there was something he was doing there that was interesting as an actor for the first time I've ever seen out of him since, forever. And even as a kid, he's just kind of generically phoning it as an actor. So, but I mean, that's one of those situations where his brother was so much better of an actor than he was. I could only imagine how good his brother would be now, but yeah. Anyway, that's too bad. I just never been a big fan of him, so maybe that's why it helps. Because I never liked him throughout the movie, and I don't like him at the end either, and I don't feel bad.
Maybe you actually understand what a villain is. I think that helps to your credit on. You actually understand a villain and why not to like a villain.
Well, nothing he does is good.
Yeah,
everything he does to self.
That. A lot of people don't. A lot of people feel like, oh, he's a victim of society.
Well, he practically assaults that one chick or whatever where he's having the imaginary relationship with, right?
Yeah.
He kills that guy on live television, starts a fucking riot that gets God knows how many people killed or hurt.
Yeah.
I mean, nothing he does is good. I mean, you could go, oh, the system fucked him over a little bit, but that doesn't change the fact that he was a nut job.
But for some people, that's enough. You gotta understand. For some people, that's enough. You understand this, Tom, better than most. Which, thank you. I'm glad you do. But you'd be amazed how many, to some people, that's more than justification for them that their ends justify those means. Trust me, I've encountered them, especially before I got the Chicago echo chamber. You want to tell me how many people thought they would say about, oh man, the Joker movie totally gets it, totally get what it's like to be one of these people, being brought down by society. Oh, the worst type of people. Trust me, I've encountered them by the hundreds, scarily.
And I mean, in a lot of ways, that movie reminded me of what was that one with Michael Douglas? Falling over or whatever,
Falling down. Yeah.
Yeah.
Falling
That's
down.
kind of what it kind of reminded me more so of at first. It just in this like world of Taxi Driver and King of Comedy, though. But yeah, just kind of this guy who's like didn't know how to ask for help exactly and didn't quite know what was wrong with him. And I wonder if people who are schizophrenic, if this is kind of probably one of the more accurate portrayals of what it's like. Because I mean, if you think about it, to him, it's all real, right? Like that's the whole point. And I'd imagine if somebody who's schizophrenic like that, because I know a lot of people hear that word and the first thing they jump to is like multiple personalities and stuff. It's like, no. A big part of schizophrenia, from my understanding from back in school, was that it's that the mind convinces people that these things are real, that they're seeing and hearing, and to them it's reality, and it's so difficult for them to differentiate, and that's where there's this push and pull.
Self-actualization. How well do you know yourself that you can't be convinced that you are not yourself?
Exactly.
If I make any sense saying that.
Yeah. But no, and again, to me, it was kind of decent to see a film that didn't paint him as a full-on victim, right? Like that's where it probably won me over, because that's what I was afraid of too. Clobby's walking out of the movie going, "Oh, they just made him Maleficent 2.0 or whatever," because that movie pissed me off too. It's like there's only certain these stories where you can kind of twist it from another angle, and Wizard of Oz is one of the only ones, right? That's why Wicked kind of works, because I mean, Cecil's right. That movie's just about two bitches using a chick to fight over shoes, right? Well, Melinda the Good Witch is kind of a bitch. She could have told Dorothy how to get home to begin with. She made her kill her fucking sister because she wanted those fucking shoes.
Love it.
And he's not wrong. So from a certain point of view, that's a story where you can flip it around and look at it from the other witch's point of view and kind of see it a little bit differently. But the problem is then is that how sadistic she is with Dorothy, right? Like that's the problem. Same thing with Maleficent is you can only take it so far before you're like, okay, well, that doesn't stop the fact that they did some pretty sadistic shit to these people, like, so that doesn't justify the end. You can look at it from a different point of view, but actually probably the better example of this is Cobra Kai, right? Because there you actually have somebody who's Johnny is a true victim of circumstance, right? He thinks he's doing the right things because of his teacher. And even Miyagi says that no such thing as a bad student, only bad teacher. Right.
Right. That's right.
That's what I love about Cobra Kai is we're seeing it from the other angle. And we can also see now in hindsight how Daniel is kind of a little douchebag. He kind of was. He got involved in shit he probably shouldn't have.
Yeah. Yep.
I mean, he was that little kid who butted his way into two people who are in the middle of a conversation that had nothing to do with him. And this is what the result was. I mean, that's really what it stemmed from. And people don't think about that too often. And I'm like, that guy's half right. I wouldn't say Daniel's necessarily the bully, but he's not innocent. He is not. He pretty much got the whole thing started himself. Now, he should have the right to defend himself. That's true. But I mean, at the end of the day, I would say, yeah, Johnny has an argument. So, and that's why that works so well.
Some characters don't need, some villains, I should say, superheroes always do, or heroes always kind of do. Some characters don't necessarily need origins or backstories. Some do.
True.
Like Dr. Doom has a very extensive one. Some of the others, but the Joker's the one who, when Alan Moore kind of added some context to his backstory with the Killing Joke, as he even considers that comic a mistake right now. It was kind of one. When you look at it, and to cite all things, the Tim Burton Batman movie, he went from scumbag criminal to just crazy criminal scumbag, and that is all you really need, believe it or not. You don't need Alan Moore did it where he was a comedian who was just down on his luck, and his wife had a real bad day, all that stuff, and he had a little bit kind of sympathy to him, but then he goes out as the Red Hood Batman drops him into the acid, and you're going, I don't know what made him crazy. But in the Burton movie, which I don't like as much as comics, it does say, well, him falling into the vat he was already a piece of garbage.
Yeah,
So
he was
it
already a
doesn't
piece
matter.
of shit.
Jack
Yeah.
Napier was already an asshole.
But yeah,
That just
he was.
removed all his inhibitions at that point. Yeah.
But a Killing Joke, they added some sympathy to him. Like, I'm not so sure that was a good idea. And I love more.
It was
Actually,
not. Considering
Moore
he
does
shot
regret
Barbara in the spine.
That's
absolutely.
Well,
also
and
wasn't
Klobby,
good.
that's one of the things I do like about The Dark Knight was that the Joker is a mystery. And that's what I
I
love about it.
love that Nolan did that.
Yes.
For the Dark
And
Knight.
he
I
has-
love that
he
he
has-
did that.
Because the
Right,
first time he
agreed.
did the story, here's my reaction during the movie. The first time he did the story, I was like, oh, no, I don't want to. Why did they have to do that? So they gave him like a one bad day
Right.
story. I'm like, whatever. Then he does it again. And I'm like, wait a minute, that's a different story. I'm like, oh,
It's always different. And look, I
he's
love Moore.
playing. He's
I'm-
a Joker. There you
I'm
go.
the biggest Alan Moore fan, and I loved the Killing Joke when it first came out. But in retrospect, and even said later, it was a mistake, and that was the worst mistake. And, aside from what he did to Barbara
Yeah.
Gordon, which was the worst part of that,
Oh,
that's
what
I-
yeah.
making him
the
sympathetic at
wheelchair.
all.
That's the one thing I loved about Heath Ledger Dark Knight Joker was that, yeah, there's certain aspects of him that aren't
Well-
really Joker, but that whole point of him basically saying it doesn't fucking
Right.
matter where I came from,
Right.
I'm here.
Because he's
Well, that
chaos.
element
That's-
was very Joker. That element
Yep.
was very Joker.
See,
I
the
love that.
The Joker is chaos, and that's that. He's
Yep.
evil for the fun of it. He's not even people. It's even a question. You don't even. It's such a mystery. You don't even know if he's really insane or evil. He uses insanity as a joke. That's also a joke. He is. We all think, yeah, he's nuts, but it's not. It's more complicated than it's murky.
Yeah.
You don't know. Is he just evil incarnate? Whereas Doctor Doom has a very extensive, very complicated backstory that works. That is fascinating, and it's great that they've gone into it in detail over the years. And some other villains do as well. The Joker is the one you don't want any background on. He's just evil. We don't even know why. He is chaos incarnate.
Mhm.
I agree. I totally
Yeah,
agree.
Pure evil.
And we got Jason Webster sending in another Australian $10 dues and says Warner Brothers announces these crossovers: The Nun X Beetlejuice, Evil Dead House Party. I want to see that. I will eat your soul and then dance on it. Dance. Space Jam in the Heights. Godzilla X Kong Pacific Rim. Now that one actually would work.
I'd watch that. I'd watch that.
Yeah. So that one's too actual realistic there. Evil Mortal Suicide Squad Combat. Now that's a lot.
Dune's Wonka.
That's a lot going on in that one.
Yeah.
Now Dune's Wonka, that might actually work. Warrior Justice says, what do lesbians do when they're on their periods? Finger paint, LOL. Oh, I went to neutral bathroom.
Wow.
Lady asked what my pronouns are, and I said she it. Ooh. Warrior Justice is back. Warrior Justice sends another 2 and says it should be Joker. The gloves does not fit. Oh.
Whoa.
Oh.
Oh,
Oh,
man.
man.
Well, for those who don't know what that's in reference to, we lost OJ today, and I don't know if anybody really lost him.
Joker. OJ Oker. Oh my goodness.
Dude.
I just noticed that now. Oh, Joker. Yeah, OJ Oker.
OJ
Seriously, bad.
Hey,
No,
hey, Warrior of Justice, cut that out. Sorry, good.
Well, that
He
was
took a
pretty
stab.
good.
He took a stab at it. Then
Norm McDonald.
Yeah, you know,
roasted on OJ the same way Klobby and I roast on Zack Snyder. It's maybe a little bit repetitive, but it's fun. It's never any less deserved than the time before.
I was gonna say, I think OJ is one of the few people where I don't think anybody is gonna be like, dude, it's too soon to be making jokes.
Nope.
no. The Babylon Bee did it like 5 minutes after.
What a way to ruin your life and the life of so many others. Just a tragic individual is, I think, the best way to describe him. had it all. The American fucking dream, and flushed it down the toilet over jealousy.
He got away with a lot, though, if you think about
He
it.
did.
I mean,
But
Oh, yeah.
at what cost, dude? Like, yeah, he was free for the last half of his life. But
Well, except for
everybody
the time
thought he was
went
a
away.
fucking murderer. Well, yeah, except for the time he did go away. But but everybody knew that was well deserved too. It's like fucking
Well, you get away with murder and then you still do something else that gets you put in jail anyway.
well, they were
That was-
gunning for you.
I think that the second thing was basically the first time he got off, and there was this kind of feeling that he shouldn't have, but that's what happened for whatever reasons. And then the next time that he was on trial, it's almost like he wasn't on trial for stealing that memorabilia. He was once again on trial for the original one, and it feels like everybody said, "Okay, you got away once, but if you're going to do more weird stuff, like now you're going to jail." He was greedy, even with his getting off of and not going to jail. He was
If I
greedy.
did do it, like that was the biggest joke of all, man.
Right.
Like, fuck you.
dude.
Talk about. Oh, go ahead.
I worked at a Borders, but remember Borders bookstore? I remember I was working morning shift, and
Formerly
they
Amazon, wasn't it?
announced at the morning shift before the store opened, we're gonna get a lot of controversy from customers today. I'm thinking, oh, this is gonna be good. Go on. And like, we're gonna be releasing OJ Simpson's book on if he had done his murder, how he would have done it. Borders has made a deal to exclusively release this book. And in my head, I'm just like, I didn't say anything, but I thought to myself, what did our store, our company sign off and approve on? What the hell? And we didn't get as much blowback about it as I thought, but it probably helped we were in the burbs, not Chicago. But there was a good amount of customers, hey, what's going on with the store releasing this type of book? And I just told every customer the same thing. I have no idea what they're doing concerning releasing this. Sounds really, really weird. And I think about a week later, we found out we were not going to release the book. I'm like, how did you even entertain that idea? Who oversaw that to even entertain that idea? Like, who at the top said, oh, this is a great idea. Yeah, and this is totally not going to make us look weird. Sometimes I tell you, man, you got to think before
If
you
I
make
did
these
do it.
decisions.
Oh, Joker.
Maybe that was one of the maybe that was the first step in the coffin that led to Borders going out of business. Maybe that was one of the first things that led to it, was that we were going to release a book on a murderer on what he would have done if he had do it. Man, totally not sketchy. Totally not sketchy. I tell you.
And
Oh,
yeah, there's no sense in dwelling on OJ. I was gonna say
Nope.
some more shit, but
not
fuck it.
one bit.
Warrior Justice sends in $2. Says Walter Hamada presents The Last Womnin.
Woman. His way of saying whammon.
Woman.
Warrior Justice then says, "Why make $1 billion when we can make $1 million, Nick? We got one already." But
In a preferable world, I wish the Joker movie had made $1
Iron
million.
Caster says 32 million of Nick Weiserls. 32 million is a lot more than $1 million.
Well, that's going to be probably the opening Sunday for the Joker sequel, in all fairness.
Yeah, I think it might do better than that. Yeah. Or you mean just one day, like the Sunday? Okay.
Yeah, that first Sunday of
How's
the
that
opening
about that?
weekend.
We'll
I'm
see.
sure I'll make it that Sunday alone.
I think my prediction is it'll probably do like 15 on its preview night. And then throughout the weekend, it'll probably broach that 100 million easily.
I think it's gonna come close. I think 80. I think around 90 to 100.
I think so. Yeah.
The
Jason
question
Webster
is the second weekend. The question is if it becomes a phenomenon.
It'll hold.
It'll hold.
It'll hold. Oh, it'll hold.
Well, this is where I'm wondering
stuff.
about the music bit, because it's timed perfectly for Oscars. It comes out in October.
Mm-hmm.
So it's in that season where everybody's, thinking about Oscar films, and it'll come out on video right at the right time and all that shit. So yeah. But anyway, I don't know if it'll get that much attention, but we'll see.
It's got to get a little bit of that viral marketing, that memeing.
Mm-hmm.
People who see it first got to talk to their friends. Say,
should be out in time for Christmas
really cool
as well.
Scene. You got to see this. People got to share it online a bit. It's got that potential.
Jason Webster sends in 5 Australian and says, well, Taylor Swift would end the relationship with the villain when she needs a new breakup song. That's true. And then Warrior Justice says his casket should be a white Ford Bronco. Well, and here's what I was going to say before. OJ Simpson is proof that white privilege is bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been saying that forever. That is because, look, yes, you could argue all day long about the prosecution this or whatever that. Now, Johnny Cochran just fucking convinced those motherfuckers that, nobody else in the world could have done this and he had to have been set up. It's like, no, that was clearly a crime of passion. The gloves bullshit, all that nonsense crap. The fact they had DNA evidence and Cochran could pull the Chewbacca defense on those motherfuckers was insane.
Mm-hmm.
Y'all don't know about the Chewbacca defense?
Yeah, South Park, the Chewbacca defense.
Chewbacca is a Wookiee. He lives in the forest. What does this have to do with this case? Absolutely nothing. And what does DNA have to do with this case? Absolutely nothing. The Chewbacca
It's a classic
defense.
episode.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What good writing does.
But with that, we still have almost 700 friggin' people watching. I want to thank WDW Pro once again for sending all you fine folks over here. Thank you so much for coming here, and thank you to him for doing that. And yeah, I appreciate all that noise. And I guess maybe we should do something fun real quick, huh? Just before we go, because we teased some things earlier in the show. Which one should we do? It's a good question. Because we know that this was like the highlight of my week this last week.
I got my ball to my butthole, yeah. Oh my God, what did I do?
But what did I do? I discovered AI music. That's what I did. So I took some of my classic hits and they have been redone in AI.
Wow, do you have a sample?
Yeah, you missed it, didn't you, Price? These guys have heard them all.
Oh, yeah,
Not
you
all
came
of them.
late.
Yeah, he didn't hear any of these. So which one should we play him? Which one do you guys vote was probably the best one? I don't know.
The Boxers one.
Oh, that one's pretty good too.
They were all pretty
good.
good.
That's a new one. All right. Well, let's do this one first. This is actually the title track of the album. I don't have a name for the band yet. This is what you guys can help me do. Help me come up with a name for my new country band. I got the album. I need a name. It's got to fit. It's got to be funny.
Brother Touchers.
Oh my gosh, you're in the right direction, but that's not going to work.
At least you admit I'm in the right direction.
While we're thinking of that, let's
I don't want to go out today. Don't have no bills to pay. Don't want to see my wife. Don't give a fuck about my life. I just want to sit around in my underwear, scratching my nuts and say fuck my hair. I just want to watch Andy Griffith of Falcon Crest and Godzilla and maybe Batman with Adam West.
Wow, that sounds pretty good.
And chocolate ice cream, living the American dream. I can't stay American dream, living the American dream. I can't stand my job and my wife's a bitch. And where the fuck is the TV switch? My kids think I'm a fat loser and a slob, and my boss is a fucking knob. I just want the American dream. I just want the American dream. I just want to sit around without underwear, scratching my nuts in my easy chair. I just want to watch Brady Bunch or Highlander and Godzilla.
This sounds really
or
good.
maybe some Family Feud and sit around in the nude while I eat popcorn and chocolate ice cream, living the American dream, the American fucking dream.
American fucking dream.
The American fucking dream. The American fucking dream. The American fucking dream.
Why don't you call them the rockin' rednecks?
That sounded really good, but my question is, do they have templates and they just keep using the same song over again, or it's just completely new each time?
My car is a piece of shit and leaks gas, and my mother-in-law is a pain in the ass. I just want to lounge without a care, scratching my nuts in my easy chair. I just want to watch Night Rider, Star Trek, or Kung Fu flicks while I eat popcorn and chocolate ice cream till I get fucking sick. Living the American dream.
Sally, I
The
should
American fucking dream. The American fucking dream.
I love the That's right.
But wait, Tom, do they have a template for a song and then they keep using the same one?
No, I had to fuck around with it a lot, and some of these I kind of had to remix a little bit.
No, it's good. Give it the human hand.
Yeah, it does have the human hand. Well, like here's one you guys may recognize from before. This is the song that was safe for CMT, but now here's the new
I
version.
wake up in the morning just like the rest, but today I wish I could grow some breasts. So I visited my doctor and he told me, hey, no problem, I can give you a pussy. Oh yeah, won't you fuck my love pocket, baby? I wanna be a lesbian, can't you see? And I can shame and cancel you if you reject me, cause I'm totally brave and stunning. I'm traded in my truck for an electric car, cause I know otherwise the planet won't get far. I turned in my guns and I saved the seal, cause I tell you global warming is real, and my hot pistol is making it worse. Trust me when I say the gun is a curse. It keeps killing people left and right. One day maybe we're gonna win the fight, but that's okay. If you wanna be gay or bi or queer and drink Bud Light beer, I see you, you matter and I hear you. Now will you stop misgendering me? Thank you. So brave, so stunning.
I love this ending too.
So brave, so stunning.
It's brilliant, man.
So brave, so stunning.
How's that for gluing your balls to your butthole?
It's great. Obviously, you wrote all the lyrics. Did it take a lot to fiddle? Like, does it take a long
It
time
took some
to make
fiddling. Yeah, it took me a couple hours. They took some fiddling. Well, this is the other. I mean, there's a few here. I got a few. I don't want to show them all right now. But what's the other?
I make some video content for that. You got something going.
Let's show this one. This one's a shorter one. Unintended. Y'all have probably heard the original version anyway.
Tiny hands, tiny feet, tiny legs with such a big heart.
Is this about comics and culture?
Yep.
She showed me a life I'll never forget, 'cause I'm in love with a midget. Such a little package, but a whole lot. She may look up at me, but she's an angel from above.
This is a top 40 hit right here.
I'm in love with a midget. I love her from sundown to sunrise. I just can't get enough. Although she's fun size, she knows just how to do me right. Even at
Totally
the
don't
height, I'm in love with a midget. Don't you forget, I'm in love with a midget. Oh, la, la,
That's my favorite part. Whole lot of love, such a little package. Such a little package.
Such a little package, but a whole lot. She may look up at me, but she's an angel from above. I'm in love with a midget. I love her from sundown to sunrise. I just can't get enough. Although she's fun size, she knows just how to do me right. Even half the high.
Roll down the windows and fuck this up.
This is so much better than my version.
Don't you forget, I'm in love with a midget. Such a little package, but a whole lot. She may look up at me, but she's an angel from
Bite-sized.
I'm in love with a midget. I love her from sundown to sunrise. I just can't get enough. Although she's fun size, she knows just how to do me right. Even at half the high, I'm in love with a midget. Don't you forget, I'm in love with a midget.
Well, and I had to do some heavy metal too. This one was for Andre and for Nick.
I don't follow your rules, and you can't stop me. I don't care about you and your silly pity. I'm not going to conform. I'm not going to bend. You will see soon enough when we reach the end. Fuck you, I'm not waking up. Fuck you, I'm not waking up. Fuck you, I'm not going woke. I'm a boomer yelling at clouds, so what I spoke. You're not gonna change me, I'm based in my design. If you don't like it, the only apology you're going to get from me is I'm sorry you have to wait in line. So suck it.
That's all I got so far. Suck it! Sounds like a theme song almost.
It sounds like a metal. It sounds like almost like a metalcore version of non-woke. Basically, it sounds like it definitely you went the metalcore route with non-woke.
Pretty much, yeah. I just threw some lyrics in there.
I think Shell's Fall would wish that they wrote your song.
Sometimes it won't let me write certain things.
Yeah, right.
I run into a lot of problems. Like you got to work your way around certain things. It's really weird trying to figure out what it allows and what it won't allow. But yeah, there's a song I got about a blow up doll that it won't let me do.
It's like it won't let you draw Mickey Mouse, but you can tell it how to draw Mickey Mouse.
It's something like that, kind of, sort of, yeah. But like my lyrics, when I put them in, it doesn't like my lyrics sometimes. So
Oh,
because it's trained woke in the first place.
because I actually had it write one. There is one song I do have here that I gave it the ideas, but it wrote the lyrics. It's not the best of the songs. I don't know if you guys want to waste time listening to another one, but yeah.
You put on another.
Because this is not my favorite of the bunch, so I'll have to end it with a decent one. But I don't know. This is the one the AI wrote.
Down the dusty road with my best friend, my loyal companion right to the end. A love so pure it's hard to explain, couldn't resist, took him out on a date. We walked through the doors of the old movie hall. People looked at us like we're playing ball. Snuggled up close as the movie began. Love for my pup like no other can. Puppy love ain't a beautiful thing. Two hearts together will always sing. Time for some dinner, so we head on out. Olive Garden where love's all about.
I told her to write a song about taking a dog on a date to the movies in Olive Garden.
He likes a bone after we bone.
And I wrote these lyrics.
When I get home.
Because I finished the song, yeah.
Like my wife keeps me warm at night, and we never fight. Puppy love ain't it a beautiful thing? Two hearts together we'll always sing. Time for some dinner, so we head on out. Olive Garden, where love's all about. Olive Garden, where love's all about.
It is true. Olive Garden is where love's all about. Okay, that was not one of the better ones. That was half written by AI. So, like, that was the first experiment.
Yeah.
Like, all right.
It's pretty scary though that you can do this with AI now.
And then, so that's when I started getting more experimental with my own shit. So, like, I don't want to end it with that song. I want to end it with one of the funnier ones. So here we go. Here's a classic, and we're gonna get the fuck out of here. So before we do this song, CC, what do you got going on?
Well, tomorrow night's karaoke night with
That's
Tom
true.
and Price and a Dragon. We go late, 9 p.m. Pacific around then. And who knows? You might hear some of this because you're welcome to sing it.
I might be able to do some instrumental versions. I don't know. I can look into it.
Why not?
I thought about doing that, like just getting to know these so well, and then taking the vocal out and then doing my own version. Maybe that would be more so, but I don't know. It could be the same. But what do you got going on, Price? You got a show later on tonight?
Yes, I have Quantum Leap Revisited. That's at 10 p.m.
Which episode you doing tonight?
Another Mother. It's one that he leaps into a mother with kids, and
Oh, I think I
my.
remember that one.
yeah, it's an interesting one. And then at 11:45 p.m., along with my friend Dred Roberts, we're doing kind of a late night stream, and all of that's happening on my live channel, Price of Reason Live. I know some people are subscribed to my regular one, and then they generally don't. They usually don't subscribe to the live one, but the live one is important. So if anybody has a chance, Price of Reason Live.
Awesome. Check it out. And yes, we got a couple more super chats I'm going to get to right after we're done plugging things here. Klobby, do you have something going on later on tonight too?
Yes, in a little under an hour, the clubhouse with my wonderful first officer, Commander R.M. Briggs, Raquel, and the great chief engineer, Mark D. with the C. We got our Blake 7 episode review. We're reviewing Kolchak, the Night Stalker episode, and a Star Trek comic, and much more. Hanging out, geeking out with the group. So thanks for having me, and hope to see you all there.
And then Nick, what do you got coming up? You're going to be on TNT tonight?
It might not be happening tonight. I
that's
talked to
right,
comics
yeah.
a few hours ago. If the people want it and they demand it enough, maybe I'll get some going around 9:30, 9:45. That's once again if the people demand it. Maybe I'll do a poll on my YouTube community tab or something. I'll consider
Sure.
it, but that's a maybe. We'll see. Other than that, for sure, I'm gonna do a member stream in the morning. I'd say it'll probably be an hour before your Midnight's Edge in the morning. 2 in the morning shows.
Oh, that's
And
right,
then
that's morning show,
tomorrow
yeah.
night, Comic Shop Talk, which Clubby will be part of, we're going to have Russ Leach on. Russ is writing a Robert E. Howard story and putting it into comic format with Cole. So we're going to be talking about that tomorrow night with him over drinks. And, of course, talk about our favorite Conan, Solomon Kane, Robert E. Howard story experiences as well. So it should be fun to talk badass comics and promote what looks to be a very promising story from Mr. Leach. So, yeah, he was on Razor Fist's Iron Age Attacks recently. So it's going to be awesome to have him on. So, yeah,
Awesome.
come check us out tomorrow night. It's going to be a fun time. And thanks for having me. It was a good show to be a part of, even if we have a lot of continued skepticism. Thanks for having me. And subscribe to my channel if you haven't. Now's the time.
All right. And yeah, with that, we're gonna play one more song here after we get to these super chats. We got Warrior Justice who says, "Can we get the OJ to sing Shaggy? It wasn't me." I can try. I'll see what I can do with that. It's pretty touchy, but we'll see. Joe Pat 87. I can't like do it right now. Like it takes some time to kind of work it out. But I'll keep that in mind. I'll see what I can do. That's pretty funny. Joe Pat 87 says in 499 says the Chewbacca defense. It doesn't make much sense. That's right. I love that episode. Jason Webster says bad name. Midnight's edgy brass ballers. Yeah, that's not quite. Brass ballers isn't bad though. Band name Tom in the Shit List. Oh, Grand Admiral Adam, thank you for that. And your 1 year anniversary member chat. And I believe we're doing a member stream this weekend, guys. Sorry about last weekend. Shit happened, but yeah. And with that, I'll take you away with one more song. Let's see here. Let's do this one. Well, yeah, let's do this.
I'm just trying to be president, but I don't know where my medication went. I must have lost it falling up the stairs. Those black kids really love my leg hairs. Oh, Brandon, go round and round. Falling up the stairs is so much harder than falling down. I lost my son in Vietnam. His name was Lieutenant Dan. He lost his legs and he ate ice cream. Oh yeah, shrimp and boat was his only dream. Oh yeah, we are living the American dream. Did someone say ice cream? I hear voices, they tell me what to say in my ear all damn day. Read the prompter, watch out for that pole. Stop sniffing that kid, get your finger out of that hole. Oh, Brandon, go round and round. Falling up the stairs is so much harder than falling down. Hey, course, I stop asking about the laptop. Go, Brandon, go round and round. Go all the way. How's my son in Vietnam? The laptop. Go, Brandon, go round and round. Go all the way.
Yeah, there you go. Should I do one more encore?
Encore.
How many of these
There's-
did you do?
There's one more song I haven't played
Encore.
yet.
Do it.
All right,
Come
this
on.
is kind of this is a goofy one.
I wanna lay down and light the fire to let you burn in my desire. If you only knew what I want to do, then you'd probably run away too. I just want to share my interest with you. Isn't that the thing lovers do? Don't you wanna try? Come on, don't be shy. Don't make me beg, don't make me cry. Please don't get pineapple on your pizza. It's a scientific fact that pineapple grows back the moment you put it on pizza. And so does the pizza, baby, so please don't do that to me. Please don't do that to me. Oh, I ain't have tomatoes pretending to be fruit already. So believe me, baby, that's plenty. I just want meat on my pie. Nothing else is gonna fly. Pop, pop, pop. Please don't get pineapple on your pizza. It's a scientific fact that pineapple goes back the moment you put it on pizza. And so does the pizza, baby, so please don't do that to me.
This still sounds
Please don't do that to me. What the fuck is a pineapple anyway? It's not an apple and it doesn't taste like mine.
one giant euphemism.
A little rockabilly.
Please don't get pineapple on your pizza. It's a
scientific fact. I just tried to see how many lyrics I could cram in.
Please don't do that to me. Please don't do that to me. Oh, I have tomatoes pretending to be fruit already. So believe me, baby, that's plenty. I just want meat on my pie. Nothing else is gonna fly. Pop, pop, pop. Please don't get pineapple on your pizza. It's a scientific
Yeah,
fact
that's one thing I may need to sing
goes
over
back
it.
the moment you put it on pizza. And so does the pizza, baby. So please don't do
Do
that,
that to me.
Please don't do that to me.
What the fuck is a pineapple anyway? All right, there you go, guys. That was the encore for you. Take care of yourselves. We'll see you on the next show. See you guys.
Good night, guys. Thanks for being here.
Night, everybody.